What do you guys think? Would you prefer being able to turn right on a red light in Taiwan, or do you like the system as it is now? How is it going, everybody? Wes Davies here. Welcome back to another video. This one's gonna be a little bit interesting because I was just checking my mail the other day, as I usually do, and I got this. Now, you can see here, without giving too much personal information away, this is my car. You can see that clearly going down the road, and judging by the date, yes, I was driving that car at the time. It didn't get stolen or anything. And this is a speeding ticket from one of the municipal speeding cameras that have been popping up all throughout the city here in Ontario, where I live, in Kitchener. And they got me clocked at 68 kilometers per hour in a 40-kilometer school zone. That is 28 kilometers over the speed limit. Now, I've got a few problems with this. I will get to that in a second, but let me just backtrack a little bit. Also, before I tell you how much money this is, it is a pretty penny. It's really quite bad. But anyway, I've been living in Taiwan for 7 years, as you guys know. We've gotten very used to speeding cameras in Taiwan, red light cameras. It's kind of part of the Taiwanese driving culture. We've all come to fear those black and yellow poles with the big gray speeding camera on top of it. I mean, these are things that in Taiwan we just have to get used to. It's part of life in Taiwan. Now, the whole time I was in Taiwan, I was thinking, I kind of miss Canada, because in Canada, we don't have speeding cameras. We don't have red light cameras. That's just not part of the Canadian driving culture. So you can imagine how surprised I was when I moved back to Canada in January 2025 this year, and suddenly, everywhere I look, there's these speeding cameras and red light cameras. And I was thinking, I do not remember any of these from when I used to live in Canada. And turns out I was right, because speeding cameras did not become legalized in Ontario, the province where I live now, until 2019, which is about 6 years ago. So during the time that I was in Taiwan. Every day it seemed like there were more and more speeding cameras popping up throughout the city. And I get it, people were going too fast, especially in school zones. So Ontario made a new law that said you are allowed to put speeding cameras outside of school zones. So elementary schools, kindergartens, high schools, that kind of thing. So this is typical of what you will see around nearly all of the roads all around the school areas in Ontario. So there's the school, speed limit pops down to 40 kilometers an hour, and then you've got the sign that says this whole area is monitored by speed cameras. So this particular street where I got nabbed is in front of a school, and fair enough. I mean, people shouldn't be speeding in front of schools, but I just don't think I was ever going 68 kilometers an hour in the city, because throughout the rest of the city, if it's not in front of a school, the speed limit is usually 50 kilometers per hour. That's sort of standard throughout Canadian cities. And I'm not a speeder. Are you telling me that I was going 68 kilometers in a 50? Because obviously I didn't see the 40 kilometer per hour sign, but even if I didn't see that, I still would know that the speed limit was 50. So why was I going 68? So I've actually put in an appeal, because if you disagree with the ticket, if you disagree with any part of the ticket, you're allowed to appeal that. So I had to write a big, sort of sob story explaining why I don't think this is a valid ticket. Yeah, I mean, 68 kilometers per hour, even if I thought it was 50, that's still 18 kilometers over, which I don't do. If it was 80 kilometers an hour, I wouldn't even drive 98. I would probably drive around 90, 92. So I don't think that this is correct. And if you guys want to know how much this is, it's really bad. It's 268 Canadian dollars, which is nearly 6,000 Taiwan dollars. I mean, that is half my rent. And now here's the kicker. Turns out Canadians don't like speeding cameras because they feel it's unfair. If you want to catch me speeding, go send a police officer, get him to clock me with his speed gun, pull me over. That's the democratic and fair process. Don't just set up a speed camera to robotically catch people unaware. That's just like a cash grab for the city, essentially. And turns out the lawyers and the court systems of Canada, and specifically Ontario where I live, they actually agreed with the citizens. So as of November 15th, 2025, speed cameras in Ontario are now illegal.
Because enough is enough. In a few weeks, our government will introduce legislation to ban speed cameras in Ontario, to protect taxpayers and drivers and stop them from being gouged.
It's official, the Premier announcing that when legislature returns in October, he plans on introducing a new piece of legislation that is going to effectively eliminate speed enforcement cameras here in the province in favor of some other techniques to help slow down traffic in Ontario streets. Ford has spent weeks publicly slamming speed cameras, calling them a cash grab in the face of financial hardships in this province.
So can you imagine that? I just get this horrible $268 fine just days before speed cameras were made illegal. So I'm kind of just like pulling out my hair here. This is ridiculous. So what do you think? Do you think speed cameras should be legal or illegal? This is one of my big questions today. But this got me thinking about the differences between driving in Canada versus driving in Taiwan. And there actually are some huge differences. And no, don't worry, this isn't going to be one of those videos where I trash Taiwanese driving. We all know that driving scooters in Taiwan can be a little bit dangerous. You've got to be safe. You've got to be careful. This is not that kind of video. I'm not going to be trashing the Taiwanese driving style necessarily. I just wanted to highlight some of the key differences between driving in Canada and driving in Taiwan. We will talk a little bit more about this ticket and what this fine will entail and the appeal process. But let's just start with some of the differences between driving in Canada and driving in Taiwan. Let's go. So one thing that you will notice right away when you start driving in Canada is we have something called a stop sign. So like this, you can see here, there's a four-way intersection. You stop at the stop sign and then you make sure there's no cars and keep going. Amazing, this concept. It's a big red sign. You've probably seen it in Western movies. It just literally says STOP, stop. And when you pull up to one of these stop signs, you're supposed to stop, look both ways down the road, and if everything's safe, you can go. I was quite surprised when I moved to Taiwan because Taiwan doesn't really seem to have stop signs, like at all. I mean, I've seen a couple, maybe in all of Kaohsiung. I remember there were just a few intersections with a stop sign there, but in general, you either have, number one, a traffic light, like most intersections in Taiwan, you'll have the red, green light, the Hongludan, and in other places like the small alleys or the smaller roads, you will have nothing, just nothing. So there are literally thousands and thousands and thousands of small intersections in Taiwan with no traffic light and no stop sign. So it's just up to the people to pull their scooter or car up, and it's up to them to look both ways, make sure everything's safe, and go through safely. So I actually kind of like that system in Taiwan. It puts the responsibility on every driver to make sure they're driving as safe as possible. You don't have a big stop sign there that you have to legally stop at. If you don't stop at a stop sign like in Canada, you get a huge ticket. In Taiwan, there's none of that. It's just, okay, is it safe? You can go. So I did like that about Taiwan, but in Canada, it's very, very regimented. I don't think there's any intersections at all, ever in Canada without either a stop sign or a traffic light. So what do you guys think? Do you like the idea of a stop sign, or do you like the idea of every person making their own safety decisions at every intersection that doesn't have a traffic light? Let me know what you think there. Speaking of traffic lights, in Taiwan, I remember that was something that sort of annoyed me a lot because of a few factors. Number one, the red lights in Taiwan are so long. I'm sure you guys know watching this video, it's not uncommon for you to stop at a red light in Taiwan and it lasts 80 seconds, 90 seconds, 100 seconds. Some of these are almost a minute and a half, 2 minutes long. So I remember driving to work, and in Taiwan, all the red lights are timed, which is actually kind of cool. But it does mean that if you're driving the same route every day to work, for example, you will always get stopped at exactly the same intersection. I'm still not sure how exactly that works. And I also knew that certain streets, if I sped up just a little bit, I could clear the next red light, and then I could sail for another 45 seconds or a minute before I get stopped at the next red light. So in Canada, I don't think that they have the timing down for most of the traffic lights throughout the cities because it always just seems random. Even if you're driving the same route every single day, you will always get stopped at different red lights at different intersections. Whereas in Taiwan, it's much more predictable. But another thing I noticed that in Canada, the red lights just really don't last very long. Here, let me show you. All right, we're gonna see how long this one stays red there. It's just turning red now. I believe that in Canada, I've noticed that the red lights really don't stay red for very long. In Taiwan, I remember so many lights, 80, 90, 100 seconds, even more than that. But in Canada, I mean, we just got here, we just started waiting, and boom, already green. I mean, what was that, 18 seconds? I barely slowed down, I waited, and then right away it's green again. So I love that about Canada. You never get stopped at these horrifically long red lights. Whereas in Taiwan, sometimes if I had to drive across the city, I was stopped at the red lights just as often as I was driving. It was like 50-50 split. Whereas in Canada, I always feel like I'm driving. Even if I get stopped at a red light, you don't have to wait very long before you're off and driving again. So I do prefer that in Canada, that the red lights tend to be much, much shorter than they are in Taiwan. And speaking of differences between countries, one thing that absolutely changes depending on what country you're in is the internet and what is available to you depending on your IP address. And that brings me to the sponsor of today's video, which of course is NordVPN. NordVPN is the highest speed VPN provider on the market. You get extreme speeds, unlimited bandwidth, and thousands of servers in hundreds of different countries to choose from depending on your specific needs. So one thing I've noticed with NordVPN lately is it is so much faster than I remember it being. It was never slow, but right now it seems basically just as fast as your regular super high-speed internet. So that basically allows you to do everything that you would normally do when you're surfing the internet, whether you're browsing, streaming, or playing games. It is lightning fast. So besides being super fast and having the ability to switch to different countries depending on what you want, like for example, Evelyn and I were able to just easily switch our VPN back to Taiwan. If we want to do anything specific, like watch a certain show on Netflix or gain access to certain facets of Taiwanese banking, which they won't let you do from overseas, we can just flip our VPN to Taiwan and we don't have to worry about any of those issues. And if that's not already good enough, one of the huge advantages of using NordVPN for all your VPN needs is the fact that they actually help protect your private information. And that's all powered by NordVPN's incredibly robust Threat Protection Pro technology, which is an advanced cybersecurity system designed to keep you safe and secure no matter what you're doing online. So essentially what NordVPN does is it creates this beautiful security blanket, helping to protect all of your internet activity, all of your personal and private information, all of those details that those pesky scammers would love to get their hands on. So there are so many benefits to using NordVPN, and right now they have an amazing deal. If you sign up for a 2-year subscription plan, which every month is the price of a Starbucks coffee or even less, coffee is getting really expensive right now. For 2 years, NordVPN is going to give you 4 months extra, totally for free. They've got a 30-day money-back guarantee if for whatever reason you're not happy with their service, but I know you're going to be happy with their service. So right now you can go right down in the description box and check out the link I have right down below. It's nordvpn.com/WesDavies to get all of those incredible NordVPN benefits. Okay, anyways, thank you, and back to the video. And another thing I love about the red lights in Canada is, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but in Canada, except for Quebec, you are allowed to turn right on a red light. You just have to make sure you come to a complete stop at the red light first. You can check if there's nobody coming to your left, then you're allowed to pull out into the road and turn right. And I absolutely love that. I think it makes driving so much more fun in Canada because you're not constantly paranoid about getting stopped at some 90-second red light that just freezes you. So in Taiwan, for example, if you get stopped at a red light and you actually have to turn right, that's your next turn, boom, you're waiting just to turn right. It turns green, you turn right, and because of the way traffic lights are timed in Taiwan, when you turn onto the new road, that road will now have a red light. So one red light in Taiwan will often cost you 80 seconds and then another 80 seconds. So you're just getting stopped at 2 red lights and all you're trying to do is turn right. In Canada, that's completely eliminated. You get stopped at a red, no problem. If it's safe, you turn right and you continue on your merry way. What do you guys think? Would you prefer being able to turn right on a red light in Taiwan, or do you like the system as it is now? Anyway, I'm so curious to know what you guys think about all this. What do you think about my speeding ticket? Do you think I was really going 68 kilometers an hour in a 40-kilometer school zone? I mean, that's not me. I'm not a speeder. I just don't get it. I don't understand this ticket. I've already submitted my appeal. They're going to get back to me hopefully within the next couple of weeks. For now, I don't need to pay this until they review this ticket and my actions. So go down below, drop me a comment. I read all my comments. Go check out nordvpn.com/wesdavies. The link is right there in the description as well. And thank you guys for listening to this video today. I never thought I'd be filming a video about a speeding ticket. I never got one of these in Taiwan. So what do you guys think? Are you gonna wish me luck on appealing this ticket? Hopefully I don't have to pay the almost 6,000 NT. Or do you guys think I deserve to pay every penny of this? All right, thank you so much, everybody. Please like this video, subscribe if you are new here, and I will see you guys very soon in the next video. Thanks once again for watching, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.